Hey guys, I'm Heidi with Heavenly Minded Homeschool and welcome to our Homeschool 180. Today I'm going to share with you how we use our free Bible-based homeschool plans to do Bible and science with our teenager. So stay tuned. Alrighty, our vlog today is a little rocky. Our day's a little crazy. My husband had some doctor's appointments to take care of, so we've been out doing that, and so I feel like our whole morning routine is really just thrown off today. Isn't that how it goes whenever we are pulled out of our home? It makes things so difficult, and that's why it has to be a priority to be at home so that home can be in order. So we have not done our normal routine and rhythm today. We did this morning before we left for the doctor's appointment, instead of the kids working on their independent activities first, we did Bible first together. And you know what? I think I'm going to switch that altogether. I was letting them do the independent work first so they could kind of ease into it and kind of get going, but I think we're going to switch it. So as soon as we wake up, kind of my first block with our block schedule, block rhythm, I think we're going to sit down and read our portion of Bible for the day then and kind of go into that discussion and then let them do their independent activities following. So I actually kind of liked that part of it. But as far as my picking up the house, swapping the laundry, some of my cleaning and chores and stuff that I'd like to get done, I have accomplished none of that today. So I want to show you guys and break down kind of explaining how we work on two topics today with our team. We're going to touch on Bible and science, and then I need to go make my family lunch, and then we'll pull Travis in so you guys can see him kind of at work with these things. So again, if you haven't seen me kind of trying to explain how we set up with our free Bible-based homeschool plans, how we do this, but every day, obviously if it's a Bible-based homeschool plans, Bible time is the most important. That's what everything is based off of, is our time in scripture. Every day we read 3 chapters, 1 chapter from the Old Testament, 1 chapter from the New Testament, and then a psalm. In our first year of school, we will go through 17 books of the Bible, chapter by chapter, every single one. We're not skipping over anything. So that's where we're going to start. For those of you, some sensitive topics in scripture, I do note in the lesson plans, hey, this day you might, if you're not familiar with it, you might want to pre-read it and decide as a family how you want to deal with it. As far as us, we read through everything. We don't skip anything. You need a braid real quick. Hold, please. All right, hair is braided. So 3 chapters a day. We sit down and read the scripture together as a family. Stop and talk about things as we go, kind of just depending on what it is. If there's anything that stands out or they have a question on or something to talk about, we always do that right then and there. Definitely encourage that. I usually will keep my phone by me on silent so that way we can quickly research something, pull up even pictures of the place or the animal or the, whatever it might be that we're like, what's that? I've never heard of that. Gotquestions.org is fantastic. If you ever run across something or your teen especially starts having questions like, well, what about this? What about that? Great resource to type your question in there. Not only will you get the answer, you'll get additional scripture, other references, everything on there. Love that site. So this is the Bible our son uses for our Bible study. It is the NLT Illustrated Study Bible. We really like the NLT translation to study as our family Bible study. I think it is a great kind of overall translation, so that's what we use a lot with them. But my son, I've told you guys before, he collects Bibles. He loves having Bibles. He's got oodles of different translations that he can cross-reference. He reads out of all of them. So do what's best, of course, for you and your family. We highly suggest the ESV. That's the one my husband does all of his studies out of, and with seminary and things, but this is what we use. We love this illustrated study Bible. Not that you have to have this one, but it's got all kinds of images and maps and little breakdowns and stuff. It's pretty cool. And then they also have the Action Bible study Bibles, which are fun. So gotta have a Bible. So every day we read those 3 chapters together. After we have finished reading the 3 chapters, I have here in just this plain folder the PDF file from our website that everything is based off of. So each day after we finish going through our 3 chapters, they have a lesson here. I'm trying to get to today's page. They have a lesson here to go through. So we are on day 22 of week 5. So he will have a few sheets here. Sometimes we go over these together. Sometimes he does them on his own and then just comes and grabs me if there's something that he needs to talk over. I definitely want to encourage him to be independent as much as possible, and I want to encourage him to take the lead as far as his school and his tasks and managing his time. So I definitely use our block schedule and our block routine to help encourage him in that way of practicing time management, but I want him to really step up and start to learn these skills now. So he has these things that he needs to go through, these different topics. Here in the worksheet, there are various questions sometimes, discussion topics, and then he also most every day will have a dictation passage in here. Today his dictation will be going through Psalm 18 and noting at least 3 verses that stand out to him, and then I will dictate those to him. When I do that, I just read it to him. He writes it down to the best of his ability. Sometimes you come up with words in scripture that you're not used to writing, so maybe not too sure how to spell, but then we can correct it afterwards with any spelling, capitalization, punctuation, everything gets corrected, and then he can rewrite it if need be. And then, so he will sit down and he will go through all of these different topics as far as Bible. We also do a special Bible focus at the beginning of each week where we're reading through Heaven for Kids by Randy Alcorn, which I love. Yesterday was super busy. We did not get to it. So we still have to do our Heaven for Kids this week. And there's also a PDF file on our website from them that kind of just further goes into questions, discussion, and things based off of that. So we do that. And then we are also learning about just different Bible customs and times. As we are reading these people, we want to understand that. So we also have a handful of pages each week. This week was talking about the differences in time and distance. So the kids had the chickens back. Come here. So anyways, hold on, there's a chicken.
Look who came back.
Hello,
She's
Debbie.
all up in our neighbor's yard.
When we were leaving to the doctor's, we saw Debbie up in the neighbor's yard, and we were like, oh great, the cops are going to get called on our chickens. Debbie, what are you doing?
I should have named her Fluffy.
Her and Cheetah take off and go hang out at the neighbor's. All right, take Debbie outside. Bye, Debbie.
Bye.
So anyways, once a week, we do the Heaven for Kids portion together, and then we also have in our PDF here these different Bible customs and manners. We're going through various different topics in with this, and so I let the kids we can read it together, they can read it on their own, but just looking at some of these just different points to think of and to understand. I'm learning cool stuff that I didn't know before either, but just different things to think of and know and understand as we're reading through scripture, to say, hey, that's right, when it talks about that was this, and help put this picture together, since of course we are talking the span of nearly 6,000 years of history. A lot of things have changed. A lot of things haven't changed, but a lot of things have. So I think that it's kind of neat to add some of that additional information in, so that way they can gather and understand these things. That is Bible. So like I said, Bible every single day with the 3 chapters, and then the follow-up in the workbook of topics, discussions, passages for dictation. And then weekly, adding in the Heaven for Kids and the just Bible customs and manners. Everything is Bible-based, but those would be our core Bible activities for our team. When it comes to science, we do nature walks every Monday as part of our family activity. In our PDF file here, there's also a little activity of some sort that the kids need to work on. So yesterday we did our nature walk, and I asked them to try to find 3 things that they've never noticed before. So we've been doing nature walks for a month. Find 3 things that you've never noticed. Travis, come here. You want to share what we found yesterday?
Yeah.
We'll get him here. Oh my gosh.
Are you way well? Look, you're
Okay, come over
sinking.
here a little bit.
You're
Come
sinking.
here.
We should trade.
Kid's a giant. Okay, what did we find yesterday?
A dung beetle that might
A
be
dung beetle.
might not be spelled right in the book.
Okay, so I remember as a kid watching the shows about like the dung beetle and being like, that's crazy. But we actually saw a beetle rolling poo yesterday.
It was a
So
beautiful
that was
experience.
something that we have never seen before.
When I saw that dung beetle rolling that poop, it just reminded me of God's glory works in here.
You think you're real funny, don't you? So we were out there yesterday and all of a sudden we see this beetle like come over, and then sure enough, there's a turd and it was just rolling it all over the place. And we were all sitting there watching and we were like, I cannot believe. So he said, you know what, next time you want to complain about something you have to do, I don't want to hear about it, because at least remember you're not a dung beetle. Yeah. So that was one of our big things yesterday. So for science, we do our nature study every week, again, with just an area to, you know, an activity to go and do, something to look into, to learn. I like to leave things very open-ended to encourage our children to pursue what they're interested in, and to dive further into that, as opposed to forcing them to learn stuff that they truly just do not care about because they don't retain the information. So I like leaving it very open and instead really encouraging them to dive in deeper to stuff. Mm-hmm. We also are going through this nature study book from the early 1900s. We had mosquitoes as our topic yesterday, which I hate mosquitoes because mosquitoes eat me alive and they love me. So we go through this. Obviously, this was written
about one of the beasts that will rise at the end of time.
Yeah,
I swear.
Obviously, this was written for a classroom instruction back in the early 1900s. So there's some things in here that we just kind of skim over. We're not going to directly apply that. But while we are out doing our nature walk, I bring these pages with me and we'll just kind of read them while we're walking around looking at different things. Where did we learn that mosquitoes breed from?
In the water.
In the water. Guess who had been needing to clean out the pool, and instead it had been sitting with stagnant water right outside of our door?
Me.
So guess what he did yesterday?
Half of his job.
Cleaned out the pool.
I did.
So now we don't have a massive mosquito breeding ground right outside of our door.
Honestly, the whole cleaning process took way less time than just filling it back up with air. Filling it back up with air, like, literally took like 3 hours yesterday.
Yeah.
Just to fill 3, like,
well,
smaller.
you also did it the wrong way the one time.
Yeah.
So, anyways, this was fun. So we go through here, kind of just touching on this. For us, I block 2 hours out in the afternoon to do our family activity. And so taking some time while we're out doing our nature walk, I read the little nature study. We look for things, do things. We also will add in some like body science and things like that this year, and different environmental things is kind of our focus. So that is mainly what we do for science. Again, though, leaving that open so that way if there's an area of interest your child has, they have plenty of time that they can go and do that and pursue those things and look into them, right?
Yep.
So anything you want to add as far as Bible or science?
For science, your stomach is not actually right here. I know, it surprises a lot of people.
What?
Well, it's funny because like your stomach's actually like more like over here because these are all your guts
like,
right here.
What are you talking about?
Like this area, that's the stomach is actually guts and
so
stuff.
when you think of like your flab that's like hanging out on your belly, you're like, oh, that's my stomach, but that's not actually
your stomach's like a weird like little organ like over here somewhere. Mm-hmm. Like it's not. But I meant that more as a joke, not really like something.
What about Bible?
I feel like we kind of just went over a lot of stuff like we've already discussed. So I don't really feel like I learned much this week that I didn't know already from talking with Dad and stuff, because we have been doing this for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. So like some stuff just sticks with you, especially Genesis when it's a book we've gone over a lot. Yeah. But I am almost completely certain that we will be learning more stuff that we didn't know later on once we get to more of the like undiscovered books. Like
ones that our family hasn't spent as much time reading together as a family. So I did have to chuckle though, because obviously the workbook pages, it really just depends on the scripture we're covering that day. Some days it's kind of short. His Bible chunk yesterday was huge.
All of my answers are like really small because I was just trying so hard to.
So yesterday he was a little overwhelmed because yesterday he had all of this.
Yeah,
which all of you can tell, but it's a lot.
All of this is the size of the rest of the week.
So yesterday was really intensive. It was a lot of Bible study, and he was there.
I was starting to get frustrated because there's so many like chapter verses everywhere, so I was going through back and forth through my Bible, like, wait, which one does it want me to copy off of?
Yeah. So yesterday was a lot, but it was the Transfiguration, and that is huge. There is so much there to go over, but I have to say it was a very proud mom moment when today he was like, oh gosh, how much are we going to have to do when we get to Matthew 24? And just the fact that you knew, like, that chapter.
I've studied Matthew 24 and 25 a lot.
I know you have, but it was just something like, yay, we're on the right track, because my kids specifically threw out, like, book and chapter, like, knowing, like, oh man, there's going to be a lot to do there. And I was like, yep, that's next week. Just you wait, buddy. We're going to do all kinds of cool stuff.
That's literally going to be, like, the whole book. I swear. It's going to be, like, 20 pages of, like...
I don't think it's that much. I said I don't think it's that much.
Matthew 24 contains a lot of stuff that goes back to so Genesis, Isaiah.
But that's what's so cool.
Yeah, it is very cool to connect the dots.
Doing the chapters and then just discussing these things. But I will say that when it comes to using our PDF, if there are some areas, even within the Bible study, that is just causing like, I don't know, because it's hard to gauge, right? I know how much biblical knowledge my kids have, but I don't know how much other families have. Or, maybe you're totally new to this. You never have read the Bible with your kids. You have to weigh these things. So I don't want anyone to feel intimidated if you are using our plans and you get to the Bible section. You don't want anybody
to feel intimidated, and you don't want people to feel like, okay, come on, can we get to more of the better stuff? Yeah,
so it's such a hard thing.
Because there's people that, like, know all kinds of stuff. I'm not going to say like us, but everyone, like, has different levels of, like, understanding. Absolutely. But there's people that are like, okay, can we, like, bump up the levels?
Yeah, like, people like, well, and especially for you teens, like, I want you kids to be digging into it and having to think through stuff and really discuss these things. Like, yeah, I know, weird, right? And so I really want that to happen, but it is hard if this is something that you're like, my kids never read the Bible, we have no idea. If you're reading stuff and you're starting to get overwhelmed, it's totally okay to be like, you know what? This is enough for today. We'll come back to it tomorrow or this weekend or whatever, and kind of glance through it. Maybe you just kind of browse through it as opposed to, nitpicking everything. But again, that just depends on where you're at. I know where you're at, so that's why I said, nope, don't care, sit there and do the whole thing.
Yeah.
And you did, and it was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was. I don't know how stupid it would sound, but, like, I can get, like, intimidated by, like, stuff that looks really long, even if it isn't necessarily super long.
You totally do that.
Yeah, I totally do. So, I got so worried. Well, I saw the logo, and I thought the logo. Can we take that part out?
That's gonna be.
I'm already stupid enough. Oh.
That's stupid. What do you mean that it can be intimidating when you look and you see all of the stuff and you're like, oh my goodness, what is all of this? Like, I think everybody does that to some degree.
Yeah. And, like, of course, like, there are traits, of course, you can get over and get rid of. But, like, especially for me, like, I have a bunch of, like, kind of, like, bad traits. I'd say, like, paranoid and, like, frustrated, like, play big parts. So when there's, like, a lot of different, like, when there's just a lot of different stuff, like, I just get immediately, like, frustrated.
Well, I think a lot of that has to play in still with your dyslexia. Because when all of these words on these letters and things start coming, you start to, like, freak out. And that's why I'm like, buddy, it's okay. You know this information. Just start reading it. And then as you start reading and we start discussing it, you're like, oh, yeah, I totally know that. Yeah. Like, see, I know you know that.
Yeah. Well, like, of course, like, like you asked me, I did try to, like, read everything. Or, not everything. But most of the answers I was able to, like, do. It was usually, like, just, like, where I had to copy off of a verse. Mm-hmm. That's where, like, I would have to go back and look through. But, like, some of it, like, I was able to, like, just piece together. Even a couple of chapters, like, I kind of, like, guessed what the word was in some Bible verses. But not because, like, I knew specifically. But, like, you can kind of, like, tell. Like, when you read the Bible for so long, you can, like, tell which words are going to be used. It was something like, it was, like, the word I had to fill in was, like, protection and glory, but I pretty much guessed that just from when you read it, and you can almost, like, kind of go along. Yeah, because that's just, like, the Bible.
Been knowing that?
Yeah, I've been knowing that. And, like, I'm not good with memorizing exact verbs unless, like, I do it for a while, like Corinthians 13 verses. I said verbs.
You said verbs.
Anyway, I'm not good at memorizing verses unless I start like doing it for like a while, like Corinthians 13. But like I have a general idea of like when a verse is thrown out, like in a certain book, especially the New Testament, I have an idea of what that verse is going to be talking about.
Because you've read those books so often, yeah.
So like Matthew 24 and 25 are going to be going through the end of times, the women with the lamp. I think in Matthew 24 there's the desecration of the temple. Yeah, because Matthew 24 also has slight ties to what happened in the Second Temple's thing. But then there's also ties in the end of times. And then there's the Revelation. Yeah, I have a general idea of like what different stuff we'll talk about.
All right, so we need to go do your stuff for today. And I'm going to film the whole thing so everybody can watch you do your schoolwork.
Okay.
Because that's what he wants to do.
Yay!
But you're doing so good letting us film you.
She's hiring me to smile, so.
Yeah. Smile and nod.
Smile and nod. Smile and wave, boys. Smile.
Okay, are you ready to do real life stuff now? Where is your...
I can do it. Can I try?
Hold on, we gotta do article.
I can do it with mine.
So proud of you. Okay. Here is your part for today. Oh, pickle. Get a towel, hurry, you spilled water. Okay, so you want to start going through it on your own? Just tell me if you have any questions.
Oh, that's too much.
You learning your numbers and your letters? Look at all those A's you're making. You're doing so good. A big A and a little A, quite literally.
I don't know all of them.
Yep, we're going to keep working on these until you get them all down. Don't worry. You know most of them. You're doing good. All right, he is going through Bible, doing that. We'll do his dictation in just a moment. Let her do that, and then I'm going to make some lunch. All right, lunch is going. More iced tea brewing. We're gonna get some school done, like I said. A little off today, a little thrown off with everything going on, but what do we have? Writer's tea time later this afternoon. So we have writer's tea time, very excited. Next week we will get back to showing you guys like our whole vlog through the day with everybody all together. But again, I just wanna focus on our teen this week so you can see how he literally does these things.